Okay, so as we celebrate National Girls and Women in Sports Day, we turn our attention to the WNBA and a couple of other sports.
Of course. Well, we love Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. There is one young woman changing the way journalists cover sports.
Her name? Pepper Persley. She is a 12-year-old journalist, reporter, podcaster, and now author. But wait, there's more. She was named one of Adweek's most powerful women in sports in 2022. She was the youngest person to call an NBA game, a WNBA game, and a Major League Baseball game.
Wow,
what are we doing with our lives?
Wow. Pepper is the reason we have a National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Pepper Persley, welcome back to the show.
To New York living.
First time to New York.
I think, yes, we did it, but it was the before times.
It was the before, the great before.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we play sports. We're women. We love having the opportunity to chat with you. What was interesting as I was taking a deep dive, a lot of people who are successful have overcome something much larger than themselves.
Right.
You write in your book about this, by the way. It's called Not to Anything.
Love it.
So tell us what you overcame that was kind of the impetus for writing this book.
Right, and I think this is such an important story to share, so thank you for asking about it. When I was in second grade, I dealt with bullying, and it was a long period of time over the course of the year, but it kind of came to this really big moment where I felt like really awful when I received this letter telling me that I was too bossy, too excited, too empowered, too athletic was the big one for me in there. And looking back at it now, I like to say that I kind of take that as a compliment because being too athletic is a great thing.
I'll take that any day of the week.
I'm
twice
having
on
a hard
Sunday.
time finding any negatives in that feedback. You're obviously so well spoken for such a young person and a pioneer, as Marisol mentioned. Why was it journalism that was something that spoke to you, as opposed to just being an athlete, but to take it a step further and become a sports analyst or a commentator?
Probably because of the amount of questions I asked from birth until now, till I could speak until now, basically. And especially being someone who is an athlete and who watched a lot of sports and a lot of women's sports as well, I had a lot of questions surrounding that. And being able to ask those questions of the athletes themselves, I think there's no better way to kind of be inspired and learn from them. And having the opportunity to do that for as long as I've been doing it has been incredible.
It really is, and I know one of the people that you really enjoyed speaking to was Diana Taurasi, who I also happen to love, of UConn fame, of Phoenix fame. She taught you some basketball drills, but she also taught you something that was pretty important, I think, that you carried with you, which is that sometimes you see two versions of the same person.
Right. I think watching her play, she's intense, she's fierce, she's like, I was scared. Going into that as, I think, an 8-year-old, I was a little intimidated.
Oh, God. I mean, come on.
Hold on, let's just pause. She interviewed Diana Taurasi when she was 8 years old.
Yes.
Continue.
Okay. But getting to sit down with her, like she put her arm around me, there's a picture there. I mean, it was just an amazing experience, I think, and something that I take to heart as an athlete. I mean, I have so many coaches who have told me that step on the court, you need to be fierce, determined, even mean sometimes. But you step off the court, right, that you need to be nice and kind and respectful. And I think seeing that balance in a professional athlete, having that firsthand experience was incredible. And the interview was amazing too. I had my little notepad. I love that about those interviews. And being able to ask questions of such an incredible athlete, I mean, all-time leading scorer in the WNBA was amazing. And I need to do the drills that you told me to do. I always forget. But yes, it was, I think, an amazing experience for an 8-year-old.
Like,
and I think about it every day.
That reminds me, I need to go do those.
That's just one.
Right.
What are some other really memorable interviews that you've done?
And I love that question, and I get it a lot, and it's always so hard for me to answer.
What comes into your mind first?
Right. I think the first person, just in general, comes to my mind is Natasha Cloud, who is another really impactful player in the WNBA. Just got traded to the Mercury, actually, so now she'll be playing with Diana. Right.
There you go.
And I met her in her rookie season. Before I was doing journalism, I was little, and she remembered me like years later.
Wow.
I was at a Liberty game when they were playing at the Westchester County Center. Remember that? Yeah.
You had a big impact on her. But
She
I know you've
remembered
interviewed a former president, if my memory recalls.
Yes, that's correct. I interviewed former President George W. Bush. And
what?
What's so crazy about that is he was like incredibly kind. And interviewing a president is also very intimidating. I mean, there was Secret Service there.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so scary. But he was really nice. What I always remember about that interview is he told me that ESPN did a great job in hiring me.
That's right.
Coming from a president, that's incredible.
I think he knows what he's talking
What did you
about.
talk to the former president about?
I asked him, he had just had a monument been put up in Williamsport where the Little League World Series takes place. So I asked him about that, a little bit about what he loves about baseball, being a former Texas Rangers owner. And yeah, it was so much fun, yeah.
That is, I can't even begin with this.
Yeah. Is there a particular sporting event that is like your dream job to cover?
Well, I have one that's coming up, the Olympics.
What?
Yeah, I would
I feel like I've said what a lot during this interview.
Me too. You're going to Paris.
I hope so.
Well,
I
that
hope
makes
so.
two of us. Let's
Yes.
let's put that into the universe.
Okay, yeah.
Yip,
We
you're
should-
coming up-
That's
you're
making,
coming
I was
together.
going to say, you could speak for me on that front as well.
Now, do you want it? Is there a particular sport you would like to go?
Ooh, I think what I love about covering sports is there are obviously so many of them. I would love to do basketball, baseball, and softball are back, so I would love to do that. Basketball and softball are the sports that I play, so I have more experience with those. But I would love to do so many sports. I played soccer for a while. I'm just starting volleyball. I think there
Oh
are
my
so many
goodness.
sports I love to cover.
And what do you do when you're not covering sports stars or speaking to former presidents or I guess
Writing a
I
book?
guess I know the answer. It's writing a book.
No, I think it would be school.
School? Oh, that's a good answer.
What
I'm
is
sure
your
her
most
father
challenging
appreciates that.
subject?
I think right now math. We're starting slopes and
What?
it's like the slope of a line.
Again,
Yeah,
with the-
that's
Yeah.
tough, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Yeah,
Shout
so
out
math is tough.
Shout out to Spence. Love an all-girls school in New York
Something
City.
tells me that this one's not going to have any issues with
You know
math.
what? With any luck, we're going to hear your voice coming to us from Paris.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Manifestation.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being an example for so many young girls, especially young girls of color, because I know they already look up to you. I look up to you, and I'm a lot older than you.
Thank
It was
you.
such a pleasure and an honor to meet you. Keep doing what you're doing and keep using that note as fuel because that's what it is to me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.